So there's this quote from Ash Thorpe that I really like where he says,
AI feels like it's the sword of birth and death. It gives birth and it kills at the same time.
And it's only natural for us to be afraid of something that threatens our jobs and our livelihood. I mean, imagine spending years mastering your craft, pouring your heart into every single project, only to be replaced by a few clicks. I've spent 15 years making videos, and now it can be done even better by just typing in a few words into a prompt box. So as discouraging as that is, I do want to share a few of my thoughts, including how I think you can develop AI-proof skills. So hopefully by the end of the video, you can leverage AI to grow even faster than ever before as a creator. Also, thank you for choosing this topic in the YouTube community post and also Instagram, because this video is possible because of you guys. So the most recent groundbreaking news that's shaken everyone up, especially in the creative field, is Sora, a text-to-video model that generates the most realistic visuals we've ever seen AI accomplish. Now, this improvement in just the span of a year has pretty much emphasized all the prior fears that we had about platforms like ChatGPT or Stable Diffusion. So as a creator, how can we compete with something that produces better results in a matter of seconds? The answer is that I don't think we have to. I mean, why send a physical letter to a friend when I could just DM them? Why go to a physical Nike store when I could just shop online? And in this case, why would I try to make prettier images or videos than Sora? There are definitely still reasons to do it. Snail mail and physical stores still exist despite being less efficient. Especially when it comes to art, we have a slight advantage because efficiency isn't the goal. It's only the goal if you're a commodity. So to survive as a creator, let's explore how to make ourselves irreplaceable while we still can and AI hasn't taken over the entire world, as well as how we can use AI right now to get ahead. So the biggest advantage that we have over AI is probably the most obvious one, but I gotta say anyways, it's that it's not human and it can't feel emotion. And because of this, it gives us an opportunity as creatives to double down on the areas that they can't replace us. The first area is our creative intuition. Now, AI operates through algorithm and data, so it can only understand everything that we feed it. So as humans, we build our intuition through real-world experiences that are unique to each individual. I mean, think about the last time that you worked on a project. I don't know if you remember the moment that you decided to go with one idea over the other, just purely because your gut told you to. Like, it was just a gut feeling, you can't really explain it. And this isn't because data told you to do it, it's something that I have been relying on when I edit videos now. So for example, when I'm editing like a promo video or a YouTube video, sure, I follow a basic structure and a script that I developed in pre-production. But when I slap all of my clips into my timeline, the rest is based on feeling. And this feeling of what to do is going to depend on each different video. So things like the timing or the pacing of the cut, you know, the music that I use or where I end up putting my B-roll, I follow a gut feeling that I can't always put into words. And I think this is one of the aspects AI is very, very far from achieving. Another area is emotional intelligence. Right now, AI can write a very compelling script or copy famous singers and create really beautiful visuals, right? We've seen a lot of that with Sora. It's all really impressive, but that's as far as it really goes. It's just impressive. It's a very shallow way of grabbing people's attention, and because of that, it doesn't truly connect with the audience. So it's not work that speaks directly to you as the viewer. Here's an example. The latest video I made on my channel talks about my experience with imposter syndrome, and it's probably one of the proudest videos I've ever made. This wasn't because it had like the best visuals I ever shot, or it had like 1 million views or something like that, but it's because it allowed me to be vulnerable and share a weakness that I know is relatable to a lot of creatives in my field, and even outside of the field. Like, imposter syndrome hits everyone. So I know that out of all the videos that I've ever made in the past 15 years of my journey, this one is probably the one that connected with people in the most meaningful way. While AI strives for perfection, it's not really close, but it goes for it. That's its goal. For us, our goal is to connect with others that are as imperfect as us. I also believe that we have an advantage when it comes to tweaking details that make the biggest difference in our work. So if we take film, for example, even if Sora can generate hyper-realistic footage, it's pretty difficult to finesse things like blocking, lighting, wardrobe, set deck, even the performance of your actors. So it'll do an incredible job at generating within the ballpark of what you're looking for. But no matter what creative field that you're in, I believe the devils are in the details, and that's what makes the difference between amateur work and work that really speaks with your audience. Let's take a moment to think about it. Do you really think that your client is going to type in a few words into Sora, Stable Diffusion, or ChatGPT and then get exactly what they have in their head? And even if they do, let's say they do, right? Are they experienced enough to really know that it's going to connect with their audience and ultimately achieve their goal? They're not the experts. You are. And we're going to be the creative minds who will integrate AI to produce better work that's unforgettable. So AI is definitely going to be replacing jobs. And in the areas that AI can replace us, I think it'll mainly be basic responsibilities and the tedious, not so fun parts of our craft. And this can be pretty scary initially, especially if you're fresh out of school and all of the entry-level positions are basically replaced by AI. But I believe that because there's going to be less entry-level work, it's an opportunity to grow even faster because you're going to also have access to AI tools. I don't know about you, but I don't like slaving away, moving those stupid little dots and lines around every single frame when I'm doing VFX. And personally, I hate drawing storyboards. Like, they just look like these stupid stick people. So there's no joy in doing that. And I also don't really like writing scripts from scratch. And these are all integral to the video creation process, but I don't really like that mental suffering. That's why I use ChatGPT to proofread my scripts to make sure that it's easy to understand for you guys. I also use Adobe's RotoBrush, so I don't have to mask out fine details every frame, like someone's hair. And very soon, I'm planning to use Sora to create concept videos instead of storyboarding or shooting a concept video off my phone to try and convince my clients to be on board with my ideas. These AI tools not only significantly improve my work, but it also gives me back the time that I would have wasted on doing these things that don't even bring me joy. And this time can be spent experimenting with editing techniques, developing new ideas, or even rest so that I can be in the proper headspace and mindset to develop new ideas. I don't know about you, but it's pretty hard to be inspired when I'm mentally suffering. So let me give like a couple examples depending on what creative field that you're in. So let's say that you're a graphic designer. You can use AI to generate a few logos as a starting point after your client gives you a brief description, so you don't have to start from scratch. Because let's be honest, they don't know what they want. They might think that they can just do it themselves, but they can't. And most of the time, the clients that are actually worth keeping would much rather hire someone else who knows what they're doing rather than go through the trouble of doing it themselves and failing and wasting time. Now, let's say you are a photographer. You can just use Photoshop's generative fill tool to remove unwanted objects or people or cars or whatever in just a matter of seconds. Instead of having your photos photobombed or wasting time waiting for the car in the background to pass, you can just do it in a matter of clicks and erase it. And the funny thing is that most of these tools have such a low barrier of entry to use them. Now, the latest tool that I've been using as a video editor is an AI-powered plugin in Premiere Pro that helped me cut the video that you are watching right now. So normally I would be spending hours looking through my cut and trying to cut out all the silences and bad takes from my talking head shots. Not only is this time consuming, but it's also not even creative or fun to do. So I'm really thankful that AutoCut is sponsoring this video that you're watching, because after using this plugin, I can literally just click a button and remove all the silences. Amongst the other AI-powered features in AutoCut, there is one that lets you delete the takes where you repeat yourself. That is insane. So if you use Premiere Pro, you can try out this plugin yourself and get an additional 20% off if you use my link in the description. But also, AutoCut is generously giving away a lifetime license if you comment #giveaway in the comments below. I know how intimidating it is to learn new skills, because when I first got into filmmaking, all I wanted to do was just make cool videos. But eventually I had to learn how to develop business skills, I had to learn how to negotiate, grow an online presence, all these things that I was initially not interested in. But goals change, and new skills also opens up way more opportunities. So on top of learning how to integrate AI into your own work, I believe that it's also important to deepen the skills that AI cannot replace. And that's going to be how you survive and thrive as a creative. Now, I have spent over a decade chasing the thrill of creating insane, flashy visuals because that was just what I found to be the most fun. But it was maybe around 2 years ago when I started looking back at my old videos and realizing how shallow my work felt. So I had this mini existential crisis, wondering, why am I even making videos? What am I trying to accomplish with it? And it ultimately led me to wanting to inspire others the same way that I was inspired to create in the first place. And when I think about the videos that inspired me, the ones that actually made the most impact in my life, and I still remember to this day, always included storytelling. Now, this is the weakest aspect that I've been trying to improve since my realization, and with AI being able to produce better visuals than I ever can, storytelling is way more important than it's ever been. It's tough because it's just not a skill that I've been able to pick up naturally. Like, for example, if I tell my friend something crazy that happened during the day, I always forget to like mention the kicker or like the punchline or whatever it is to really emphasize and have them empathize the pain that it put me through. By the end of it, they're like, oh, why did you tell me this? Or that didn't seem too bad, but it was really bad. It brought me a lot of pain. I just suck at storytelling. But what's made storytelling easier, as well as I think making it more effective against AI, is telling stories that are personal to me. These are stories that only I can tell because I've lived it. So whether it's fictional or not, they're inspired by true events that happened in my life, which is always going to connect with people way better than stories that AI will tell. For you, it could be your creative journey or your cultural experience or social values. Like for me, I made this little short film that visualizes how piano playing feels like it brings me into different worlds. It just wouldn't have been possible if I didn't learn how to play the piano or I didn't care about art. I also made a video about my experience as an introvert in the creative space because I always felt like it was something that held me back from success. So I think that there's going to be a gradual trend to produce more things like documentaries, reality shows, or vlogs because they have the biggest chance of bringing authenticity to the audience and connect way more closely and make things way more engaging. People look for connection, and I believe that learning how to tell your stories through your art is the bridge to do it. Now, I believe that curiosity is the engine for creativity and how we develop our styles as creators. So while AI can produce whatever that we tell it to or mash up different styles from different creators or artists, it can't explore any further than that. So humans have this innate desire to explore, experiment, and ask questions. And I believe that leaning into that curiosity is how we grow as creators. For example, if you know Cause, he is who he is today because his curiosity of merging commercial and fine art led to the birth of these globally recognized figures. Jordan Peele created movies like Get Out and Us because of his curiosity in highlighting social issues and things in society in the form of horror movies. The musician Grimes is probably the best example of integrating AI into your music and visuals instead of trying to compete with it. So if you're a graphic artist, maybe you can blend traditional art techniques with digital and find something amazing through that. If you're a designer, maybe you can incorporate biodegradable material for your packaging if you hold strong values of saving our planet, which can lead to new designs and solutions. For me, I was curious what it would look like to incorporate AI into an abstract short, despite not having any animation experience at all. The product of our curiosity not only keeps our craft fun, but it can differentiate ourselves from the art generated by AI. So we as people are not perfect. Many would say that they are very far from it, including myself. And although this may sound like a weakness, it's probably one of our biggest strengths because the humanity in our flaws and our struggles is what connects us with other people. Now, I've used this example before in a video on Artlist, and it's that people don't cheer for the fastest man alive just because he runs fast. It's because he can run fast despite being born with scoliosis, suffering injuries in his career, and overcoming doubts. Ultimately, he's the fastest runner despite being human just like everybody else. And athletes are always overcoming the odds stacked against them, so that's why we cheer for them. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but the latest video I made for my channel shares about my experience with imposter syndrome because it It's one of the greatest struggles in my career, and I had only wished that people were more open about it so I knew how common this feeling was. And it's my proudest video, again, not because it had the flashiest visuals or that it racked up a lot of views or anything, but because people have commented and DM'd me saying how much they can relate to the feeling and how seen they felt after watching my video. And that is the power of vulnerability and embracing our imperfections, which AI can't do. But as soon as AI can feel emotions, we are so